Mario Party 6 is, drumroll please, good. It is a really great entry that saves the series from the mediocrity that was Mario Party 5. Mario Party 6 has 6 boards, 11 playable characters, and 82 minigames. Toadette joins the roster this time around. She's my new favorite character because her voice acting is on par with survival horror games from the 90s.
Woohoo! I'm a winner!
Huh. Radio. What's going on with that radio?
Woohoo!
Have you seen a little girl?
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Yeah, I got it!
Yeah, it's not great. Here's the rundown of the boards. Towering Treetop, Bostonian Star Hunting Board. The altering flower routes depending on whether it's day or night is simple and easy to understand but still mixes things up, as does Woody being replaced with Warukio at night. And I'm glad that some variant of Boo was brought back for this board even if they only steal at night. The biggest problem this board has is that there are 4 dual spaces. That's just too many for this kind of board. Egad's Garage, Bostonian Star Hunting Board. The center platform turning clockwise every day-night cycle is cool, and the rest of the happening spaces help add to the theming of the board. Fair Square, Bostonian Unique Gimmick. At the center of the board is the Star Exchange, where you can buy up to 5 stars at once. During the day, stars cost the standard 20 coins that we all know and love, but at night, Twyla rolls a dice block to determine the price of stars. This can either be 5, 10, 30, or 40 coins. Beyond that, there's a happening space where each player puts in 10 coins during the day, a star at night, and chooses a flower. The player with the flower that blooms wins the pot. There's also a straight-up slot machine as well as a shell game where you can put up a star and win 2 stars, 3 at night. If you lose, the star leaves play. This might sound hypocritical, because while I've adamantly stated throughout this series that stars should not be able to leave play, I think that this instance is alright. The event isn't forced onto players and they know what they're getting into if they choose to play. It's genuinely the risk of the egg. Snowflake Lake, Bostonian Unique Gimmick. This board forgoes having any sort of star obtaining whatsoever and instead focuses on dueling and otherwise stealing stars. At the start of the game, each player is given 5 stars on top of any handicaps. Not only are there 8 duel spaces, but there are also Chainchomp doghouses where players can pay to ride on Chainchomps. If you pass a player while riding on a Chainchomp, you steal one of their stars. During the day it costs 20 coins to roll 1 dice block, but at night the cost is 10 coins per dice block and you can roll up to 3. It's a really cool board, but games can go pretty long with how many dual spaces there are. Castaway Bay, Straight Line Static Starboard. Copies the gimmick directly from Mario's Rainbow Castle. In the bay there are 2 ships, DK's boat and Bowser's battle yacht. One is always docked while the other is in the bay. They switch every time a player arrives at the dock or when one of 4 happening spaces is landed on. Arrive at DK's boat and you can buy a star for 20 coins. Arrive at Bowser's battle yacht and he steals a star if you have one, 20 coins if you don't. The rest of the board is super cool. It has a pink Boo, a river rapids, a generous monkey, and there's a pagan Goomba god. But Bowser outright stealing a star is incorrigible. Clockwork Castle, Bostonian Unique Gimmick. Instead of a normal star space, DK and Bowser roam the board, rolling 1 to 2 dice blocks after all the other players roll. DK roams during the day and Bowser roams at night. If you run into DK or vice versa, you can buy a star for 20 coins. If you run into Bowser or vice versa, he steals a star if you have one, 20 coins if you don't. Yet again, it's a shame because the rest of the board is pretty neat, but Bowser stealing stars is still incorrigible. I still like all the boards here. Castaway Bay and Clockwork Castle leave a bad taste in my mouth, but they're still functionally sound. And I'm so glad that there are once again boards that mix up how you obtain stars. The last time we saw that was back in Mario Party 1. The minigames are also pristine. Almost all of them are top tier, with notable exceptions being Crate and Peril, Odd Card Out, Sink or Swim, and Kagshu Letter can be pretty infuriating when the goddamn Shy Guy won't take the letter. I am doing your job, just stay still. Bowser and DK minigames return, again occurring after their respective spaces landed on. But what's real neat about the Bowser DK spaces this time around is that they're actually the same space. During the day they're DK spaces, but at night they're Bowser spaces. It's cute, I like it. Battle minigames still randomly occur instead of the regular minigame at the end of the turn, which still sucks. Duel minigames now have their own permanent spaces, which is better than them being a byproduct of capsules. You can still duel for stars, but the amount of coins needed to substitute putting up a star was decreased from 50 to 40, which feels too cheap in my opinion. Mario Party 6 introduces a new type of minigame as well, mic minigames. Using this piece of plastic I bought for $6.75 on eBay, you get to talk to your Nintendo GameCube. Laser. Laser. It's very cool. Missile. There's only 5 minigames, all of which are 1v3, and all of them except for Talkie Walkie are good. These randomly occur in place of a normal 1v3 at the end of the turn. And, unfortunately, like in Mario Party 5, there is no weird minigame in Mario Party 6. There are 4 weird minigames, but there's no weird minigame. Meaning, of course, a weirdly complex minigame based off the mechanics of another minigame. We have Seer Terror, Lab Brats, Dunk Bros, and Blockstar, which are all equally weird, but not in the way I was hoping for. Blockstar also has a 2-player mode that can be unlocked for 50 stars at the Star Bank. It's a competition in the same vein as Tetris Attack. Now for the other modes in Mario Party 6. For the first time since Mario Party 3, there's no story mode. Instead, Mario Party 6 has a single-player mode with no story attached. Solo mode has 3 unique boards: Thirsty Gulch, Astro Avenue, and Inferno Tower. The object of this mode is to land exactly on the last space of the board you're playing on, the rare minigame space, while winning as many minigames and obtaining as many coins as possible. Instead of a normal 10-sided dice block, you roll a 6-sided dice block. There are spaces for 4-player, 2v2, 1v3, and battle minigames. Land on a space and play the corresponding type of minigame. If you win, you either unlock the minigame or get 10 coins if you already had the minigame unlocked. There are also Koopa Kid and Bowser spaces. Koopa Kid spaces have the player duel a Koopa Kid, where losing causes the player to lose half their coins. Bowser spaces have the player play a minigame where losing causes the player to lose all their coins. Along the way you pass orb spaces, which will yield either Cursed Mushroom or Sluggish Shroom orbs. Cursed Mushroom orbs cause the player to roll a 1 to 3 dice block, which can be handy. After landing on the rare minigame space at the end, you either get a rare minigame, Dunk Bros, Lab Rats, or Blockstar, or 50 coins if you already have all 3. Then you receive coin bonuses for various things accomplished during the game, and all your coins are converted to stars at the reasonable rate of 20 to 1. This mode is pretty cool, honestly. I like the concept and the execution is top-notch. Almost. One key thing prevents this mode from excellence, however. If you overshoot the rare minigame space, you lose. Full stop. You gain nothing for your efforts, you lose. Good day, sir! Which is so incredibly stupid. Because if you get a Sluggish Shroom Orb, you have a surefire victory, just don't choke. But if you only get Cursed Mushroom Orbs, you have at best a 33% chance at winning, or a 16.66 repeating chance at worst. It's just awful. In minigame mode, we have Minigame Tour, Battle Bridge, Treetop Bingo, Mount Duel, Decathlon Park, and Endurance Alley. Minigame Tour is the free play mode this time around, allowing you to play any minigame you have unlocked. Battle Bridge is the obligatory win X number of minigames that has been in every Mario Party game since Mario Party 2. X, like always, can be 3, 5, or 7. Treetop Bingo is literally just bingo. You play until someone fills anywhere from 1 to 5 lines. After a minigame is won, the winner gets to choose a number on their board to fill in. If that number is on anyone else's board, it also fills in. Easily the best minigame mode in Mario Party 6. Mount Duel is the Mario Party 6 equivalent of Minigame Tournament. Like its predecessor, Mount Duel is a 4-person bracket where players play duel minigames. The winners of the first round immediately go on to grand finals, and the losers play a consolation match to determine 3rd and 4th place. And, like Minigame Tournament, it's so short that it seems pointless to include. Decathlon Park is the Mario Party 6 equivalent of Minigame Decathlon. You need to play 10 minigames as optimally as possible to get as many points as possible. The 10 minigames are Smash Dance, What Goes Up, Circuit Maximus, Snow World, Note to Self, Pokey Punch Out, Sunday Drivers, Throw Me a Bone, Hyper Sniper, and Stamp By Me. Endurance Alley is unlocked from the Star Bank for 50 stars and is a minigame marathon where you need to beat 100 minigames without losing a single time. This is cool. On paper. I didn't beat it. I didn't even get close. My record was 27 wins and I played 3 times. The reason I gave up after admittedly not that many attempts was because the minigames that ended my last 2 runs were both luck minigames. Treasure Trawlers and Something's Amiss. The fact that luck minigames can appear in Endurance Alley is a joke. I didn't want to get 80 minigames in just to lose Pitfall. So Endurance Alley, like solo mode, is cool on paper but just barely misses the mark. Then there's mic mode, where you can play Speak Up, Star Sprint, and the Mic minigames. Speak Up is a game show hosted by Brighton and Twyla where 2 to 4 players compete to win the most points. There are 5 categories of questions: picture, counting, memory, comparison, and variety. Picture involves identifying a character, counting is counting, memory is remembering where characters are hiding or what happened on a walk, comparison is counting, and variety can be any of the other 4 categories, so 50% of the time it's also counting. For each category there are 5 questions, one worth 10 points, 20 points, 30 points, 40 points, and 50 points, with the higher valued questions being harder. Like a lot harder. This is Mario. How you'd ever guess that, I have no idea. In order to answer the higher valued questions, you first need to answer the lower valued questions. So you start with a 10-point question, then move on to the 20-point question, and so on. Instead of having a timer, the question starts off being worth X amount of points, but as time goes on, the question becomes worth less and less points. Each player gets to choose 5 questions, so a 2-player game is 10 questions long, while a 4-player game is 20 questions long. But if a player gets a question wrong, then another player can buzz in and answer it. There are also item panels that randomly show up when choosing a question. There's a fire flower that makes the question easier, a mushroom that makes the question worth double points, a cursed mushroom that makes the question worth fewer points much quicker, a pipe where the points won are stolen from another player, and a shadow star where Bowser asks the player a question, like what he wants to eat. After the 5th to last question has been answered, Brighton and Twyla give the current standings, although sometimes Bowser comes in and hijacks the show, which doesn't really change all that much. It's a pretty good game mode all things considered. It's weird how in-depth it is, but at this point in the series, weirdly in-depth side modes don't really surprise me. Mario Party 5 had a mech fighter for Christ's sakes. I'm still processing that. The only issue with the mode is that sometimes the GameCube microphone has a hard time understanding what was said, and that saying "give me a hint" gives the player a hint that completely trivializes the question with next to no punishment. Star Sprint is a single-player minigame where the object is to get a star from one end of a course to another. But instead of using a controller, you use the funny piece of plastic. Up, down. It works very well. There's 3 courses: Meadow Road, Dark Path, and Magma Flow. You can get Magma Flow for 50 stars at the Star Bank. Now for pros and cons. Pro: orbs. Orbs are what capsules from Mario Party 5 became, with the main difference between the two being that orbs actually work. Overall, there are 8 improvements that make the orb mechanic function properly. The biggest improvement is that you don't need to spend coins to use orbs like mushrooms on yourself. They're free to use. You also can't throw or use just any old orb, so there's no more paying Hammer Bro 5 coins to steal 10 more from you. And when you do throw orbs on spaces, the game marks the space with a silhouette of the character who threw the orb. If a player lands on their own orb space, they get 5 coins. It's kinda stinky that you still don't get a visual on what the orb spaces do, but it's a step in the right direction. Also, trap orbs appear as a hologram over a space, which is a nice way to tell them apart from regular orb spaces. In Team Match, each team has their own silhouette, a sun or a moon, so you can't trigger your teammates' orb spaces. You can now buy orbs at orb shops. These work like item stores from Mario Parties 2 to 4, and it's nice that you can actually buy them. Orb spaces, the ones that give free orbs, are superior to the capsule machine from Mario Party 5. It's just faster, and it doesn't go... Thank God. Mario Party 6 also drops the number of orbs from 28 to 23. That might not seem like a big deal, but most of the redundant or stupid orbs were weeded out in the process. Also, sometimes the orbs you use will contain coins. And finally, you can either throw an orb 5 spaces ahead of you or 5 spaces behind you. In retrospect, the inability to throw capsules behind yourself in Mario Party 5 is pretty dumb. However, there still isn't any indication for what orbs players have in their inventories. It's still just green, red, yellow, and blue orbs. Pro: dedicated duel spaces. Mario Party 5 technically had duel spaces, but those were dependent on a duel capsule having been thrown. Mario Party 6 has permanent duel spaces, which is great. You no longer have to wait for the last 5 turns or use an item to duel opponents. Pro: the Star Bank. It's just really cool to me that you use the stars you obtain on unlockables. These range from Toadette to Clockwork Castle to various other modes and secrets, and it just feels nice to have some sort of progression in the game. Pro: mic minigames. The whole use of the GameCube microphone is relatively unobtrusive and just a pretty cool addition, and it works surprisingly well, most of the time. Pro, Sluggish Shroom Orb. This item on its own is worth salvaging. It makes the dice block move at a snail's pace, allowing you to actually hit the number you want to get. If you press A right before the number you want, you will always hit it. I like having the ability to essentially choose what number you want while there's still being an element of skill and timing to it. Pro, the day-night gimmick. It is so unbelievably cool that all 6 boards take this idea and do something different with it. Beyond that, a lot of the minigames change their visuals depending on whether it's daytime or nighttime, and a few actually change their mechanics. It's just a nice detail. The only nitpick I have is that it'd be nice to choose whether you wanted to start a game during the day or at night. Con, no more hidden blocks. Hidden blocks had been on the decline since Mario Party 4, but it's just so sad to see them gone for good. Con, you have to purchase taunts from the Star Bank. Look, I'm fine with buying boards and characters and mini-games and the credits, but I draw the line at buying taunts. Taunts are a God-given right, and to have to individually unlock them is a shameless blow to democracy. Con, no more coin bonus star. The happening and minigame bonus stars remain, but the coin star was replaced by the orb star, which goes to whoever used the most orbs throughout the game. While I think that both are equally valid, it's a shame to get rid of a bonus star that had existed since Mario Party 1. Con, battle minigames count towards the minigame star. This was also the case in Mario Party 5, but I didn't know that when I made that video. This almost completely invalidates the integrity of the minigame star, because if you win a 50 coin battle minigame, you pretty much just won that bonus star. Knowing this further solidifies my disdain for battle minigames randomly occurring at the end of the turn. Mario Party 6 caps off the Modern Trilogy. To me, each era of Mario Party can be identified by its attempt to answer a question. The question that the Classic Trilogy answered was, what is Mario Party? Mario Parties 2 and 3 in particular attempted many different things to try and figure out just what Mario Party is. The Modern Trilogy, on the other hand, answered the question, how do we perfect Mario Party? These entries use elements established from the Classic Trilogy while tweaking mechanics here and there to perfect the formula. And Mario Party 6, having 5 entries precede it, is the best Mario Party game so far. Everything it does better than the other games. And while it isn't perfect and certainly falls short, all the other games fall much shorter. I love Mario Party 6. The aspects we'll salvage this time around are dedicated duel spaces, the sluggish shroom item, and the star bank. As for the salvage minigames, they are Control Stick, Balldozers, and Snow World. Next time we'll be looking at Mario Party 7. The final installment on the GameCube, and seeing where the series goes after the overwhelming success of Mario Party 6. And of course, as always, here's the compiled list of all salvage aspects and minigames. Take care.